Welcome to Amazing Living Studios and another edition to Angel Cafe. Today the group will be discussing the magic of retreats. Now, everyone occasionally feels a need to get away for what they call an inner rejuvenation. We simply need to reclaim our inner peace in the midst of a hectic life, or do some soul searching about our life direction, or go deeper into our spiritual life. Let's pull up a chair and join Angel Cafe as they talk about the magic of retreats.
I'd like to welcome everybody to Angel Cafe. We have some special guests with us this week. We have Angela Morales, who's from New Jersey, and Kathleen Ellis. And I believe you're in Florida now, Kathleen, is that right? Or are you in Georgia?
Georgia.
And Don Overstreet's in Virginia, soon to be Florida. And myself, I'm in Texas. And Alicia Hurley, who's the producer of Amazing Living Studios, is with us. But what I'd like to do today is I'd kind of like to explore the meaning and the value of a retreat. Because lots of times we live this busy life, we don't take time for ourselves, and we may just be living life but not really exploring and growing as a person. And it can pass us by. So we don't want to necessarily lead a comfy, dying experience. We want to live a full life of joy and everything we've come here to do. And a retreat is something that really impacts that. There's some retreats coming up across the country with some of these guests, and we've invited them in to share about their experiences. And I just kind of like to go ahead and start with that. We're going to go around the table and ask some questions and hear people's personal experience, which is what this is all about. Angela, why don't we start with you? What was your first experience going to a retreat or a camp, and what was it like for you?
Wow, well, I remember my first mini camp experience, or retreat experience rather. I remember that time didn't exist. I remember that the most of that day, and although it was several hours and may have been over the course of a weekend, I just remember not being so concerned about time because I was completely invested in my first loyalty, which is to myself. And there was just so much insight and inner guidance that was being dropped in at such a fast pace, and I don't even think I could get it all on my paper fast enough. But the key thing for me was how being loyal to myself just by getting myself there really just allowed so much to come in so quickly, and really feeling myself just getting down to the nitty-gritty of my true purpose.
I was just so excited to meet other people who had the same interests as me. They wanted to grow spiritually. They wanted to grow as fast as they could. And they were just so interesting. I just loved hearing about their spiritual journey. I just felt like I was coming home. And I remember it took me some miles to get there. And even when I got there, I wasn't tired. I was just so excited about the opportunity. And that real high energy didn't go away the whole weekend. And I actually carried it on home, and it wasn't difficult to actually drive for 9+ hours and then go to work the next day with very little sleep. It was just such a wonderful experience, and made me recognize that everything is just energy. And the more I'm in master of my energy, the more that I can accomplish, and also the opportunity for spiritual growth is unlimited.
Well, for me, the first time I went to camp, it was a long drive. I drove all the way across Nebraska, and with some people I didn't even know. But it felt like when I got in the car and we drove across, it was like I had found brothers and sisters that I didn't even know existed. And the drive is part of the experience. And what I experienced was that taking this long trip, taking a road trip with people that are spiritual, and that you can just solely have conversations with them. No interruptions, nothing but us just sitting there and talking for hours is immense. It's a really big healing. And then getting to a retreat, I've had so many different experiences. I've had them where they're just so much fun, where you go and somebody brought a whole trash can full of oysters. And Don, you could probably relate to this, but they were from Virginia, and We ate that whole trash can full of oysters, I'll tell you. During these retreats is we had the chance to actually explore our sensitivity and be in a whole bubble of sensitivity, because everything in the whole weekend was connected. I remember one of the techniques was reading between the lines. It was for the first time I really realized I always knew this. I always felt the truth underneath what people were saying, but I never really paid attention. So it opened my awareness up to kind of completely be myself. That was the first time I really had that experience, and it was amazing.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to backtrack just a little bit to actually get me to a retreat. Share with people a little bit about, what the journey was like to actually get to a retreat, because the retreats were wonderful, but I was the type of person way back when, and this is going back 30 plus years ago, had such a busy life, involved in business, had a very large family, and things like that. I didn't think I had time for me. My experience of just getting to the point of giving myself permission to do something for myself was a huge hurdle. Then when I actually did get to the retreat, and it was a mini camp, I was so excited. I felt like making that one decision to do something for myself was the biggest thing I'd ever done in my life. What I found were like-minded people who had similar things going on in their life. Perhaps people had been doing this a little bit longer than me, but I experienced a true feeling of being freer than I ever had, with a less burdened, less guilty conscience about just doing something for myself. And of course, the retreat turned out to be something that was all about the journey of just getting to that retreat, and how I quite often put limitations on what I need to be doing for myself. So the retreat was wonderful, because it turned out it was all about learning about being freer as a soul, and how I can make that very practical in as far as the things that I've been involved with in my daily life.
I think we had Vani, who's joined us from Las Vegas. Vani,
yes, I'm here.
How are you?
I'm great. How is everyone?
Doing great. What we're kind of discussing right now is the first time you ever went to a retreat. And what was it like, and how valuable was it to get out of the environment and really, really take a look at your soul? You want to share a little bit about that?
Yes. Well, the first time I ever went to a retreat, if you remember, Dennis, was I met you.
That was worth it.
It certainly was. It certainly was. But that's been 20 years ago now. And I had a wonderful journey getting to the retreat. I traveled with a team of local leaders at the time, and we had the opportunity of driving across country. We shared, as one of our rules and program, is sharing drivers, alternating drivers every 2 hours, and just really giving us all the opportunity to back one another. And so we arrived at the retreat, which happened to be in Osceola, Iowa. What an amazing feeling it was to actually arrive. And actually driving across country, could really feel the energy and our angels coming in to back us, each team member, and as an individual as well. So arriving at the camp was an amazing feeling that we had made it. And then actually seeing and getting involved with the other leaders that were there. And there were many. Of course, they were more seasoned than I was. And it was just an amazing feeling to be able to connect with so many different people from all over the country, as a matter of fact, at that particular retreat. And it was a very high feeling, and something that I had really accomplished for myself, because it was really hard to get out of the city, to leave the job, to give myself that opportunity to take care of what was that I needed to take care of for myself. And it was very fulfilling, just a really high experience.
I'd like to kind of dive down a little bit deeper. I'd like to maybe go into some experiences of, that you remember that really stand out to you. Anything that comes to mind? I mean, Alicia, if you've got some experiences, I know you're going to be coming to your first retreat in Texas coming up, I believe.
Yeah, I'm really excited to come out and join the group. I'm looking forward to it. I just know, just from my experiences, which haven't been spiritual, but like Girl Scout camp, that's kind of like a retreat, right? And other business retreats through my work business, that what I get out of most of them is just a connectiveness with each other and the bonding and learning about each other, and then learning a lot about myself. So I'm really looking forward to this type of retreat. I think it's exciting.
So why don't we go into some experiences? Angela, does anything come to mind for you?
Sure. As I was listening to everyone, it was taking me back to the first time that I went to camp out in Iowa, and it was really challenging for me to allow myself, or rather, as Dawn had said, which was said so perfectly, give myself permission. It's very challenging for me to do that, and I remember even up until that morning when I got up at 3:30 a.m. to catch a very early flight and kissing my kids goodbye. I just had such a feeling of heaviness and guilt and shame, and I was on the airplane and I was shaking like a leaf, and I even missed the first flight. I was late. It wasn't until the wheels had touched the ground in Iowa, and then physically getting to camp. One of the first people that I had saw was Dawn, matter of fact, and I just felt that feeling of, as you shared before, being home, and how everyone's energy was just so connected, and I could feel this immediate backing. And there were folks that were just asking me if there was anything I needed and how they could help me, or Dawn made me a sandwich because I was really hungry. And I just remember saying to myself, you're at the right place at the right time, Angela. You are home, and these are the folks that you're learning and growing with and evolving with as a soul, and everything is great. And so it was quite a challenge just to get myself there, that first loyalty to myself. And although I'm aware of that, it still was that feeling of pulling myself out of my comfort zone, which can be, again, sort of challenge that first loyalty. But once I was there and feeling that, the energy of the camp environment, it was a feeling of being at the right place at the right time.
Well, one of the things I was thinking about was that in my community at the time was Grand Rapids, Michigan. There wasn't another person who was a visionary like myself. In our organization, we have different sort of spiritual gifts that a person might have. And they might be divided into a visionary who works a lot with seeing and getting impressions from more of a picture point of view. And then there's the feeling type that moves through life more from how things feel, and they get impressions more from a feeling point of view. And then there's the prophetic type who has an inner knowing and inner hunches. Last but not least is the intuitive type who has more that still small voice inside and gets thoughts and ideas more from a clear word or clear hearing. Well, I was told I was a visionary type, but in my community there weren't any visionaries. And I really wanted to know what that meant. So the very first opportunity when I went to camp, I really wanted to, as visionaries do, watch all the other visionaries and really get a sense about the other gifts also, because I knew I had all four inside, but I didn't really know how they fit and how I could make them practical. Here I was in a setting where there was many people of each of the different perceptions, and it was such a great opportunity to really understand how they all fit, how my inner communication worked together, how my team of spiritual guidance worked with me and worked with other people. And just that opportunity to have sort of like a university lesson just about the gifts, just by the fact that there were so many of each type there, was invaluable.
For me, one the experience that comes to mind is since these retreats that are coming across the country, they're with something called AstroSoul. It's a department of the Americana Leadership College that is sponsoring these retreats across the country. But the energy is AstroSoul energy. And I went to a retreat one time, and this experience I want to share with everyone was that when we first got there, it was in Seattle, and it was just a nice, beautiful retreat. Everyone was there, and when we first started out, somebody had a deck of tarot cards, and we said, well, let's just grab a card for our day and see what that's like. And the card that I pulled out, I didn't like that card, so I put that card back in the thing. I shuffled it all up, and I pulled it out again. It was the same card. I said, okay, well, if this is real, it's going to happen again. So I shoved it back in there, shuffled it all up, pulled it out, and it was the same card again. You really can't get away from it when you're in that cleansed of an environment, and the truth is going to come out. It'll come flowing out. And what happened in that retreat, it was a lot about past lives, and that card had to do with a past life that I had, and it healed some things as far as why I'm so sensitive. This particular experience was where for some reason I brought a set of bongos to the retreat, and everyone said, well, we're going to lay down, we're going to do a past life. We're going to go to another past life. And I put the drum underneath my head. And as I'm laying there, I'm thinking of the card, which was a picture of a person laying down with this black box under their head with a sword. And that was exactly what I was doing. And I immediately went back to a samurai lifetime, where I knew that I was a samurai, and I could sense people around me by laying my head on a drum. So that was amazing as far as my awakening of my own abilities, but also another lifetime that happened during that weekend where I actually could see the relationship that I had with somebody that wasn't really trustworthy. And it directly had to a lifetime experience that we healed on the spot. That bigger picture connection to things that just flows right into everyday life insofar as being practical was what I got out of that, at least that retreat, and I get out of almost every retreat I go to.
One of the things for me, and the particular retreat that I was at, was really about trusting. It was a real act of trust for myself and bringing back to my own loyalty, first loyalty to self. But it was trusting spirit as well, because here I was working. I felt like the rest of the team was going to have this wonderful opportunity to go do this, and I couldn't go. Well, what happened was Spirit took care of it, as Spirit usually does for me. I got laid off. I called the team up immediately and said, guess what? I can go. Is there still room on the vehicle? They said, absolutely. That was one of the biggest things was trusting. And even as I arrived at the retreat, because just like this particular retreat that's going to be coming across the country next month, is sponsored by AstroSoul, as you stated, Dennis, is what I saw at the camp was, and I didn't say too much because I was very much a newbie, and I could see other people from past lifetimes. That was something that scared me, quite frankly. I wasn't too sure about how I related to all of that and what it really meant. And that happened to be one of the things that my guidance really wanted me to take a good look at. And there was a profile to help me with that as well. And it actually stated that on my 7004 profile. And these profiles that I'm speaking of right now are things that you can get with the college or other consultants. But they're a step in your spiritual development that helps you to unfold various areas that you may need to work on. And that particular concept was something that I needed to work on, and that's why I was seeing different folks from different lifetimes. And not everybody, but just some people. So it helped me to understand that a little bit and trust myself even deeper.
What I'd like to do is go into a little bit more about what's coming up. I know some of the retreats are in different parts. I think we have, Angela, you're doing one in New Jersey, is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
Want to share anything about what you got going on?
Sure. It's taking place right here in my home, and it is a AstroSoul course, which you were just sharing about, the Department of AstroSoul. And what I'm looking forward the most too is gathering folks who are currently involved in groups, or maybe were involved in groups in the past. But again, it's this wonderful opportunity to energize this area furthermore, and getting together. And some of the things that stand out to me is even, gathering up in the kitchen upstairs and making lunch together. And it's that feeling of connectiveness, that word was shared quite a bit, that feeling of collaboration, feeling of energized, feeling my my true purpose and really living it, and of course that loyalty to myself. So I'm really looking forward to the course, and of course delving into the Astrosoul department energy is always quite fascinating.
Okay, Kathleen, you got one coming up in Florida, I believe, right?
Yes, and we decided to put it near the biggest attraction in Florida, which is Disney World. So that it's about 10 miles west of Disney World the last weekend of April. And we did that. That's sort of like the last retreat that's scheduled at this time that I know of. And we chose a course that has a lot to do with expansion of our communication with our inner guidance, or angels, or spirit guides, or whatever term a person might want to use. And also our life purpose, really tuning into that so that we can really have more information about, who am I, what am I doing here, those types of questions. We're really excited about it. We picked a resort that one of the presenters had stayed at in the past and had a great experience with. We have a fairly large villa there, and there's swimming pools and all the amenities of a resort and spa area. And it's very child friendly, so we're hoping that folks might come out with children too, and they might be able to create a concurrent program for them. And we're also providing some other activities besides the main course, sort of like starting with an event called Trance Healing Tables on Friday night, which is an opportunity for a person to release pressures that really isn't them. It's just something they pick up in their sensitivity. And then on Sunday, working with a 3-hour shorter course for people who might want to get their feet wet a little bit, but not the whole weekend, or maybe they have work commitments on Saturday. So we're really excited about the different facets of the weekend that people can partake in and enjoy the Central Florida amenities at the same time.
I know that we're mentioning a lot of things that are available, like the trance healing tables and profiles and things like that. That there's always an introduction, to this whole program, American Leadership College. They can go to alcworld.com and see a lot of the events that are around the country that are, introductions to the program. You can go straight to retreat if you want, but there is a step-by-step approach in the community that's available. Texas is going to have a retreat we're going to say all the dates and we'll have them posted at the end of this call, but we're going to have a retreat out at the Stagecoach Preserve, and it's a beautiful place. It's about 30 acres in North Texas, just at the north part of Dallas and Fort Worth. And what we're going to focus on is, first of all, a leadership course on Friday for anyone who wants to be an instructor, a contracted instructor. There's a course that's available for them, and other people may be coming from around the country that need that course. On Saturday, we're going to dive into our life purpose and what we're here to do, and how deep that can go, and how we can, make that come alive, and all the things that have already been planned in our life to actually have them come out, so we can live that. We're going to have a great party on Saturday, guaranteed. We're going to have probably camp out. There's lots of places to go camping on this property, and if the weather's nice, there's a big pool and everything like that. On Sunday, we're going to have a healing circle in the morning, and we're going to have a reincarnation, go to your past lifetimes. It's a course that's available, and all the pricing for everything is this is available at the alcworld.com events page. So that's what the flow is for our retreat. Do we have any other retreats that are set up for people on the call? I know we have one. Where else do we have retreats, Dawn?
Well, there is one in Virginia in Richmond, Virginia. It's scheduled for the evening of the 10th, 11th, and the 12th of April. And its primary focus is going to be on a course called Dimensions of Spiritual Evolution, where we'll actually delve into the soul and its evolution, reincarnation, and being on planet Earth and making that very practical. We also have another retreat that is scheduled in Osceola, Iowa at the International Conference Center. And that date of that particular event is scheduled for April the 4th and 5th. And of course, you guys have mentioned the others that are going on in your parts of the country. And I do believe that there will be one in Connecticut that will be happening as well. I don't have the details just yet, but as you said, Dennis, anyone can go to the alcworld.com under events. Not only are the introductory programs and courses that are going on around the country as well as internationally posted, but also these regional regroupings.
Okay, so technically someone could go to a retreat every weekend of the month of April.
Exactly.
Okay. Just, logistically, figure out how you're going to go through those different places, but there's one every weekend. Vonnie, is there anything you want to share to just kind of, wrap this up? Why are you coming from Las Vegas to Texas to come to
Well, actually, I like to go to various regions, and we have the country divided into different sections, and so we call it regions. So I enjoy thoroughly getting out of my region and out of my comfort zone, so to speak, and traveling to another location. My guidance actually gave me the key words to go to Texas as golden opportunity.
Wow.
So with keywords like that, who would want to miss a great opportunity as such? And it also gives me the opportunity to meet new people, to help energize different regions. I just find it fun. Sometimes I'll go to more than one regional retreat. Last time I went to the regional retreat in New Jersey. The following week I went to the regional retreat in Colorado. So I love to travel, I love to meet people, and I love to work with spirit.
I'm looking forward to the great barbecue in Texas.
You'll be cooking, so I hope so.
I will be.
Lots of marshmallows, right?
Yes, outdoor camping.
Yeah, you'll be introduced to Blizzard, the goat dog, and everybody out there at the retreat.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it is fun. That's what all of this is about: is how to grow spiritually, have fun, be with brothers and sisters of like mind, and really heal ourselves and expand. I know for me, when I left camp, I wasn't the same, and every time I leave camp, it's like I've gone another plateau. So, is there anything else, Angela, you want to say before we wrap this whole call up?
I was just feeling really inspired by what you just shared, that certainly for myself as well, that every time I left a retreat or camp, I felt like I grew lifetimes. In fact, I know that I did, and it just knocked me right up to another plateau of my spiritual involvement, and that's essentially my number one priority. So really, really excited for the month of April.
I met this lady once who said that we shouldn't call them retreats because it sounds like an army retreating, maybe in a loss, but we should call them advances. The reality is it really jumps our spiritual energy forward, helping us to advance in the mastery of ourselves. And I always feel the biggest product that I get out of my involvement with these types of programs is a bigger picture. I don't care what the name of the course is. I don't care what the content was, but I always come home with a bigger picture of who I am, what I'm doing, what I'm trying to accomplish this lifetime, and a bigger sense of mastery in all of the scheme of all of that.
I think we all kind of share this experience. We hope others would like to participate. You can come out to any of the locations, even if you just want to come for part of the retreat, even for one of the healing circles, or even for the fellowship. You can come out for one of the parties. So there's a lot of opportunity out there. We wanted to share it with you, and we want to invite you, and we also want to invite you to come back to the Angel Cafe. Next week, we're going to have the founder of the Americana Leadership College, Tiger Cole, and we're going to share some very unique experiences that he's had and really open up things that are for an expansion energy that's coming for us personally as well as this planet. So I want to thank you all and have a great week.
It's time now for us to be leaving Angel Cafe. We hope you found the experience refreshing and are ready to take time out to experience a retreat. If you would like more information on how to attend one of these retreats, go to www.alcworld.com. Thank you from Amazing Living Studios.